Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 182 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Busy.
Yeah.
Always busy. I have a lot of projects that are going on. I've started a photo project where I'm going to get every single photo I have into Amazon Photos. It's a goal of mine. So I'm up to about 180,000 pictures so far. About 180,000.
That's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon does such a good job. I'm sure that Google and Apple do something similar, but it does such a good job with categorizing everything. I was trying to do it locally on my machine, and I was like, why? Why am I doing this? Like, it runs this huge database. It was just like crushing my machine. I'm like, I need to get it up somewhere. So what I've been doing is I've kind of been going through, and I moved all my pictures I bought a 10 terabyte drive and just moved everything there first. And it's a mess. And now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of going in and uploading stuff. But the nice thing is that Amazon won't take repeats, which is good. So you can kind of upload stuff and say, all right, well, if it's a repeat, it's not going to go. But that's it's under certain circumstances, right? Like if you start, as long as the file names are the same, it's cool. But if the file names are the same because you have multiple cards and the picture's different, that's fine. It takes it at that point. It's just really if it's the file name is the same and the picture's the same, it just doesn't take it, which has been good. But I know I did one chunk where I uploaded 9,000 pictures and it was like, yeah, you got 200 new ones. Yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah, because it's using the metadata as well, right? So
yeah, so that's nice because I can be like, hey, I want this kid at this age doing this. We were looking for a basketball picture of my son when he was 6 for an album cover for one of his songs. And it was like, yeah, no problem. Got it. So I've been doing that and it seems like it's not a hard project. I'm 4 weeks in. It's a long, tedious project, but I'll feel more comfortable when it's done.
You're just reminding me of from the, I'm going to say, let's say early 2000s of having an MP3 collection that was out of control with different file names and
So yeah,
that's
what I'm
talking about. Yeah.
So that's next. So this is a 10 terabyte drive that has kids videos and pictures. And once I'm done uploading just the pictures to the cloud, then I'm going to back up the 10 terabyte drive and then I'm just going to label it and call it a day and get another one. And then I'm going to do the same with my music. That's the thing. A lot of the music that I have is not stuff you can find online, so I kind of have to go through and do the same thing with that. It will be another project.
Nowadays, though, there's software out there where they can analyze a song and figure out what song it is and
no
automatically fix all the
assuming it's a well-known song. That's
these are all songs that are you're not going to find anywhere. So I have to do it manually, but that's next on the list. But this has been a long project and I feel like I'm about halfway through. I'm actually uploading about 8,000 behind the scenes as we're doing the podcast because I got to keep on my grind here.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't even know that Amazon had a photo service. I've always used Google Photos. So
no, it's actually probably the best one. I had somebody that was here, some family members over the weekend, and they were an Apple and Google people. And they're like, yeah, why is Amazon so much better? I was like, oh, I don't know, but it's definitely
what's so much better?
Easier to manipulate and find things. Just to find things. I literally typed in, basketball, orange shirt, and my son's name, and it was like, cool, I got you. Okay, cool, thanks, man. It's good. Its search algorithm is really, really good. So I find that a lot better than the other in terms of just finding the stuff. It's a little bit better job. So anyway, that's been my project.
Trevor, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say I've done the same thing with Google, and it sounds very similar. I'm just curious what the differences would actually be at this point, because they both have the algorithm, and like you, I can go back and search for something from 2005, and it finds it just fine. So I don't know.
You could do like orange shirt basketball 2005.
Yeah. Like I look
you
for
could
a
do all that,
subject.
yeah.
I search for stuff by subject, not by date. But it's
Well,
like,
you could do it by
okay.
face too, right? Like,
Yeah.
like you could do it by face and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much does it cost?
Well, I just pay for the Google storage, which is the
Yeah,
whatever
it's
it is.
included.
Like,
yeah.
it's the
so
photos get
there's-
included with it. It's not
There's a storage limit.
Well, there's a free portion, right? But then if you want to do higher, then there's
So Amazon
Unlimited
Photos
still?
is unlimited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
So go crazy. Like I don't think I'd be paying for 100 and like I said, I'm at 180,000. I'm about halfway there. I kind of figure maybe even less, maybe a third of the way there. I'll be at, a couple 100,000. Like I can't imagine wanting to pay for that.
I just wonder if there's any compression that's noticeable.
There is not. No. So again, they say full resolution, no compression. I mean, they compress, but their compression is, what do they call that again? There's a name for it. But anyway,
something lossless. Yeah.
Yeah, it's some sort of compression that it comes back exactly the same. So yeah, I mean, I've been pretty satisfied with it so far.
Well, thanks for your review of Amazon Photos.
No problem. I mean, and here's the thing: I have, like, I'll tell you, like, I have a lot of PhotoPass stuff from back in the day, and it's been pretty good because you don't realize how many Disney photos you have, right?
Yeah,
and I feel like a lot of Disney stuff is like, oh, remember that ride? But you would never want to display it. Like, I'm not, again, you guys may be different. I'm not trying to post, like, print out Disney ride photos and post them in my house personally.
No.
But it's nice to be able to find them. And I think that you have so many pictures of Disney and it's like, okay, but I want this year with this kid in front of this ride or this, that, and the other thing. I'd like it just to organize the Disney stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't print out ride photos, right? But like we had, like my mom for the longest time had a photo in her house printed off from like, it was like my sister and I with like Goofy and someone else from like one of the character dining things when we were kids. Like, and that was up for like a long time. But to your point, like, no, I'm not printing out a test track photo and putting it somewhere on the wall. Like, it just, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I think what happens with this is like, so I have like a couple different ecosystems, but for my photos, I'm kind of in on Amazon. And now that I moved over to FireCube, instead of a Roku on my main TV, it's been nice because it just is all synced in there.
Yeah.
Right?
The Fire Sticks and FireCube and all that are actually really good for that integration.
Well, and the thing is I needed something that had Ethernet instead of wireless. Right. So that's why I went with the Cube. But again, I like it because I can see all these pictures of Disney that I wouldn't necessarily look up all the time, but because they're popping up as a screensaver on my televisions, it makes it worthwhile. Like your trip photos, it makes it kind of nice.
That's how I have it with all the Google Homes around my house, right? Like I've got a bunch of the Google Home hubs that have the screens on them, and it's just a running slideshow of pictures that includes Disney pictures. It's just tied to one of my Google photo albums, and it just to your point, it's the same kind of thing. It's just I look over and I go, oh, look at that picture, that was cool, but it's not one I would print out. It's like a slideshow, and it's there for 20 seconds, and
absolutely. So I've been doing that. That's been a project of mine. I'm in class. So. And then let's see. I don't know. My son's got a song coming out soon, so been kind of working on publicity on that.
Well, and you just got back from your trip.
From our trip.
Yeah, and you need to give us the first detour in a long time, and years.
No, not years. I went to Florida. I went to Florida a few times, didn't I?
Does that count as a detour though? Like, I feel like it's only a detour when it's a non-Disney entity.
Yeah, but I didn't go to Disney when I went. Remember, I stayed at one of those other hotels, and I was at Hilton Head. Yeah. At Hilton Head. I was at Disney, so I guess it's not a true detour. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we make up. I guess we make up the rules of what is and isn't. Right. It's your segment, so
sure. So we'll consider this more of a detour. So yeah. So we went to Pigeon Forge, right? I just consider that whole area like Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge. I just call it Dollywood. It makes it easier, right? Because even though I didn't even go to Dollywood, the whole area is Dollywood for me. So this time around, we decided, normally we stay at the Christmas Time Inn, which I love, wasn't available, and we were going with 6. So my son's girlfriend was coming with us and, kind of changed the dynamics of what we needed. And I'm also all in on these 2 bedrooms anyway. That's just my thing now. So it's tough sometimes. You got to look at like where you're staying because, a lot of the times like to do 2 rooms, like the Dreammore is great, right? That's Dolly's resort, and they're actually building a new different one. But the Dreammore has been really nice, and we've stayed there and loved it. But I was talking 2 rooms at that point, and it was just crazy. Part of the reason that we go to that area is because things are a little bit cheaper, and it didn't seem worth it to try to do 2 rooms than be paying like $1,400 a night. I might as well go to Disney at that point, right? So we decided to try a place. So the Riverstone Resort and Spa in Pigeon Forge, kind of just off the cuff. But
like,
it was
you didn't do
really
any research or look
I mean,
at reviews?
how much research can you do, right? Like the thing is,
TripAdvisors, I would just pull it up.
but everything's fake these days. Like reviews are just every review is like, I feel like just such a sham. Like you almost just have to look at the bad reviews and then go, can I live with this? But anyway, I mean,
that's what I do. That's always what I do. Yeah. I always go like, oh, are they complaining about something stupid, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, if it's something stupid, then whatever. So,
I mean, we basically looked and just said whatever, right? Like, I didn't want to stay at a hotel per se. Like, this was a little bit different. Right? These were like condo-y places. It was very DVC-ish because there were like people that were Riverstone Resort and Spa owners there, right? And they had their own parking spots. It was kind of cool, actually. They had their own specific parking spots, and then you had like the cash people that had just rando spots. But it was pretty nice. They had a lazy river, which was okay. Like it was all right, and the rooms were nice. We were on the third floor. Yep. We're on the 3rd floor, so there was a nice back porch that overlooked. I mean, we got a great room because it overlooked the golf course, and then it also overlooked the Dreammore, so we got to see the fireworks from the Dollywood Resort fireworks from our hotel balcony, which was kind of a win for us, especially since we were there over 4th of July. And it had a front porch as well, which was the weirdest thing. So you kind of walked into a screened-in front porch before you went into the room. Okay, cool. Whatever.
That's a little different.
Yeah, it was a little different.
Oh man, this lazy river looks awesome. I just pulled this thing up. Right? This lazy river is pretty cool. There's like waterfalls and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So the room was really nice, and it had a full dining room, which was really nice because we did obviously all our eating in the room, but it like had a full dining room with like a table and everything, right? It was kind of nice. Bedrooms were nice, and the bathrooms were huge for some reason, like huge. So the place was good, and it was way cheaper than doing double rooms at other places. And, it had some stuff around the resort too. Like there's these things I actually had not seen them before. They're like big kind of like bubble trampolines, but they're huge, right? Like, and it's just like this, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a big, huge bubble, and you can jump on it like a trampoline. So there was one of those at the resort. We went there the first night that we got there. We're like, oh, let's walk around the resort and kind of see what's going on. And we went there and we're like, all right, let's, the kids were going crazy. And I was like, yeah, let me get on that and see. And I was like, wow, I'm in terrible shape, absolutely terrible shape. It was just like, I was on that thing for like maybe, I don't know. I don't even think 10 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I get off because I'm just going to.
You're winded.
I was winded. Yeah. I still like, this trip was very humbling in terms of like what I need to do to get back in shape for sure. Cause that was just the start of how humbling it would be. So yeah, like I got off of that. They kind of played on that for a little bit longer. And remember, like played on. So we're talking an 18-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 12-year-old. And they had like a blast. And the nice thing is that there was a gym for them, which they, liked. It was, very nice as well. And everything was very, the whole resort was kind of enclosed, right? And there was a golf course in the back of it, but you could, walk around and it wasn't so bad. I mean, it wasn't huge, but it was right in kind of the thick of things and, kind of off the main road, but close enough to do everything you want. So the first night that we got there, they did a little bit of that jumping nonsense. And then we were right next to one of the mini golf places. So it was called the Toy Box. And we're like, well, we can just walk there because it literally is just, not even like 40 feet away, I felt like, right? So we go down there, and there's been some discussion about what we were going to do teams wise. Originally, it was supposed to be me and my middle, and then my wife and my oldest, and then my daughter and
Wait,
my
so you
son's
weren't doing
girlfriend.
individual? You weren't doing
No,
individual? You
we're
teams?
doing teams. Yeah, we were doing teams, and we were going with the whole swimming 5-3-1 scoring system. So they didn't want that. For some reason, they decided that they were going to go and do, the boys wanted to play together. So, okay. I mean, I told them, I said, it's just bad news for you guys because my middle has been known to pout at mini golf, right? Being 16, I don't necessarily know if that was going to help it or not. But we have pictures of him the last time we went, which I don't even remember how old he was, of him just being very upset when we were at Hillbilly Golf and like sitting in one of the bathtubs and being like, yeah, I'm done. So we're like, okay, cool. So we went down there, and first of all, every mini golf was immaculately clean. Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg in general are just very clean. And it's like noticeably clean, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, yeah, Disney's clean, but every once in a while you'll catch a, garbage can overflow or this or that. This is like, you're like, how can it be this clean? Right.
Like, how is it possible?
How is it possible? And, you play mini golf, especially places like Hilton Head, Wildwood, anywhere down the shore or, Beach, like they're nice, but they're like, these were perfect. Like they were perfect.
Yeah, I mean, like they're usually a little beat up, right? Like it's you rarely get to like an immaculate like mini golf course. There's like dirt.
All of these
whatever.
were immaculate, immaculate. So we go to this toy box one, and what they had there, which was a little different, is that each hole had something. So you write your players' names, right? So your player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And every hole, each player had to do something special or got a special this or that. Like, you can take, add one stroke to one of your opponents, or you have to take your first shot on 1 foot, or spin around 3 times, then take your shot, or take your shot between your legs, all sorts of different things, which made it pretty fun and interesting. And they were all like kind of retro toys, totally like Toy Story rip, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Like,
I just pulled up the website and I'm just seeing the Rex.
Yes,
like they just total rip off.
Yeah, but funny. Like really, really clean, immaculate, and well done. So we play this and we just get destroyed. So my son's girlfriend, she's D1 golf prospect, D2 at the least, just went off. Right, we're like, you literally had like 6 hole-in-ones. Like, how is that even possible? Like, I just don't even understand, right? She just goes off. They just destroy us the first, round. So I'm like, wow, this is not going to be fun. Like, I think we're just going to get whipped. But my daughter ended up dropping the bag for the rest of them, which was helpful because, again, she played extremely well the first one, but, she's 12 and doesn't play golf. It was just a matter of time, right? We were just hopeful that, like, she would just kind of lose her stroke and we would be able to actually be in the game a little bit. So that was the first night. And then what did we do? So
is that when you had the scoring controversy, or was that
no, that was at the end, which made it even worse. Okay. So we do that the one night, and the next thing that we're doing is, I'm just trying to think, we must have been there for, were we there for 3? We must have been there for 3 days. So again, I was telling the guys, normally I take notes. I didn't even take notes. I was just too tired. It never happened. So you kind of get a little bit more rambling than usual. But the second day, we were going to Paula Dean's Lumberjack Adventure. Thank goodness that they didn't have their phones and video for this ropes course. So we go there, and the thing, again, it's immaculate and everyone's stupid nice, right? Like the super duper nice. We get all locked into our, harness gear because everything that you're doing is like zipline harness type. And very well run. Like it was, you go there and there's maybe 4 or 5 different things to do. Some of them you can do as many times as you want. Some of them you can do 2 times each and they just mark off your bracelet. Some of them you can only do once, or, and it was very well run. It was in a nice spot, and, it wasn't huge, but there was a lot to do. So we get there, I'm all clipped in, and I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm thinking to myself, oh, dude, this is going to be like, it will be fun. It'll be interesting. So we go do the ropes course first. And the guy's like, what do you want to do first? Whatever, man, ropes course. So I go out there, and I don't know what I was thinking. I just, listen, I'm not in love with heights. they're fine, and I can do roller coasters, right? And that's cool, but I'm not like in love with them like certain people are. So go up to this ropes course. I'm walking up this thing. Guys clipped me in, and everyone that was working there has really heavy accents. Okay. We got to keep that in mind because it totally hurt me because of that. So guys, super nice, gets clipped in, and I'm looking and I'm like, well, there's no nets. Like, and listen, I get it. I'm strapped in. There's no nets at ziplining either. But for whatever mental reason, because I'm like walking on stuff and there's no nets, I wasn't really about it so much. So
your brain told you no?
My brain definitely told me. So I go first, which again, thank goodness there's no cameras out at this point because this would have been terrible. I start doing it and I realize that I'm in terrible shape, but it's too late at this point. I'm already out there and it's a little bit of a disaster. So I think the thing is that, again, I think I mentioned on the show, I had surgery like almost a year and a half ago, but it took me darn near a year and a couple months to recover. So I have not exercised in so long. And I was kind of under the impression that I was still in some sort of shape, and I was not. So I'm doing this ropes course. I get to the center section. The guy is yelling something at me. I don't know what he's yelling at me because I can't understand him. And he's far.
Just unintelligible.
Just totally not understand. And I think a lot of the fact was that I was further out. What had happened was there's these little they're not even barrels. They're like a cask, like a Donkey Kong barrel, but they're 12 inches wide. Let's call them, right? And then there's two ropes on the sides of the barrel that are going, up on an angle. For some reason, I'm more concerned about holding the rope that is obviously saving my life in the middle, that's the zip line rope, than I am on holding these two ropes on the outside. So the guy's yelling to me to hold the outside ropes. I can't hear him or understand. Obviously, my kids and family are not going to help me at this point because they're having fun. They think it's hysterical. I go through these things with a center rope. I'm down. Okay. Get back up. I use the ropes to get back up. For whatever reason, I use the ropes to get back up. Still doesn't dawn on my mind that maybe I should be holding on to them while I'm walking. So I don't know why. That doesn't work. I finally get through them. Then there's these little stepping, I don't know, there may be 8-inch circles of wood, kind of held on by two ropes to the side of them. And the guy's telling me how to do it. No, you step on this one. Okay. It totally doesn't work, and I go down. But this time, I go down, and I'm tired because I obviously messed up the other ones that cost me all my strength and energy, and I just can't get back up.
Oh, God. Okay. Are your kids just laughing at you at this?
Yeah, at this point. Well, not only are they laughing, they actually have started the course and are just breezing through it. First, the next person to go, because I'm yelling for my daughter to go, and I'm really at this point just hopeful that she's going to have a disaster like I am. Honestly, that's what I'm hoping at this point, and this is not the case. So the guy has to come out and help me up, and this is I get back to the middle, and then that's just half of the course. The guy's like, all right, well, the second half of the course, I'm like, dude, I'm out. Tap me out. I'm done. And he's like, no, you'll be good. It's easy. I'm like, I'm out. Okay. So now I'm just sitting there watching everyone else. And honestly, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, I mean, my daughter and my wife has to totally fail at this. They breeze through this thing like nothing. And the guy's like, oh, you're going to do the next half? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And they breeze through that one. For whatever reason, I think my problem was I was leaning back and then holding onto this middle zip line rope instead of everything around me. Total disaster. So we finished that up, and I'm exhausted at this point, and I think we're 30 minutes in, right? If that. So underneath the rope course, there's a second kids rope course. I do that. I'm comfortable with that. You don't need to be strapped in for that, so I'm good. I do that once, and all right, I'm happy. And we get off of that. And for some reason, again, I'm still thinking to myself, this is an anomaly, right? Oh, that was just an issue. I'll be good. All right. So there's a few other things. So I think the next thing that we did at that point was there's a zipline roller coaster, which is really fun, by the way, super duper fun. It's a zipline, but instead of just going straight, it's more like a roller coaster. So that was pretty cool. We all did that. And then they also had a spot up there where they kind of switched between this zipline roller coaster and then kind of jumping off for some reason. I don't know why that's fun, but you jump off when you're strapped in, like, and you float down. Okay, I didn't bother with that. I did the zipline coaster, and after that, we tried. I had to have a win at that point because I was like, I got to do something. There's telephone pole climbing. I figure, how bad could that be? So at least I was
terrible.
No, I mean that actually wasn't so bad. So I was able to accomplish that with little problem. At least going up, but coming down, I think everyone the first time they come down, like you think that like you don't realize to push off the pole when you get close to the ground so that you can actually stand up. And obviously what happens is your feet get close to the pole, but your butt is further away and you fall down. I fell down once. I was fine. Got back up, and the next couple of times I climbed it, I was good. But again, I'm like exhausted at this point. So I did that with my daughter, and then my two sons and his girlfriend did that, and they were racing. I was like, how are they racing to the top of this so fast? And they were just like zipping up these things. And I was just like, all right, fine, whatever. We then were like, let's do log rolling. Okay. That was a disaster. I don't think I ever had 2 feet on the log at any time without my butt in the water. Like it was just a total S show for me on that. Now, my oldest and his girlfriend did extremely well on that. And I think that there's like this, I think the taller you are, the harder it is. I'm just gonna say that. Like I just feel like it might be a little bit harder. But
is it like a higher center of gravity or something?
It might be, but it had me thinking about like, cartoons, but even shows where people are actually log rolling. Like there's just a log in a river. Now this is a log that's on like a pole in the middle, and you're also zipline strapped in so you don't fall and conk your head. Right? What happens is they strap you in, you get up on your tippy toes, and then they squeeze the thing so that like you're like. If you fall, you're falling like you're not going too far. So you're kind of like in this, like, so when you're walking out there, you're good. But if you fall, you're not really falling. But yeah, I was terrible at that too. Like absolutely terrible. And then I was like, oh, we can do log running. Like how hard is log running? Like it's just running across the logs. No, that again, terrible. I don't understand how people did this like for real in rivers. Like, I don't know if it's cartoons I'm thinking of, like where you'd see them like log rolling down like rivers or not, but I don't know, but it was tough. But I will tell you that they say you have 2 hours. And once we got there, the people are like, hey, listen, you have as long as you want while you're here. You have 2 of this, 1 of this, 2 of this, and then the rest, a lot of the things were like unlimited time, but you could only go in them once. So like you go do your, telephone pole climbing. And once you take and do as many times as you want and take as long as you want. But once you're out of that area, then you're out. You can't go back in. But super clean. Super nice, super fun, and total disaster for me. But I had fun. But I realized,
like I said, humbling trip for you.
That was super humbling. And like I said, it had me coming home and being like, okay, it's time to work out again, right? Like I got to start working out. It was definitely tough. And I would say that if I went next time, I'd wear shoes that like don't have a lot of sole, so that like you can like feet grip things. I think that was another downside of kind of the shoe situation. For me, at least, I needed like, you know what I mean? I needed like shoes that had grip, but that had not as thick of a sole. But it was really fun. It was not that expensive, especially in comparison to certain other things. So we did that, and let's see, what did we do? Okay, so then that night we went over to... Did we do Crave? I'm trying to think, we did Crave that night or Hillbilly Golf. I think we might have done Crave that night. So that's owned by the same people as Toy Boxes, voted one of the better miniature golfs in the country by Travel Channel or something. Gosh, I might have my days a little messed up here though. Hold on, I got to think about this. Now, we must have done that the next day. So I think we did Hillbilly Golf that night, which is one of my favorite courses that I've ever played. You go up a mountain on this little cart, and then it's all like, gin distillery type stuff, moonshiny type stuff. But again, it's in the woods, and there was a big tree that had fallen down from the fires that they had in Pigeon Forge. I don't know if you guys remember. We were actually there for that. We left the day the fire started. But anyway, the course was there were some things redone up, but they still had this tree there because it had been there since, I guess, the Civil War. So they cut it, and then the roots were kind of overlooking you, right? So the tree had been flipped upside down because of the weather. But so we did hillbilly golf, but that is definitely one of my favorite mini golf that I've ever played before. It's really well done. It's on the side of a mountain. It's really fun. So we did that. And then the next day we did in the morning, let me think. Yep. In the morning we did Crave. What we decided this time though was, so at this point we won hillbilly golf. Me and my wife won hillbilly golf. And I think my sons came in second and my daughter and his girlfriend came in third. My daughter just lost it a little bit on hillbilly golf, which was fine by us. And again, like, you have to understand, like, as we're playing, like, there is no rest for the weary. There's talking going on the whole time. Like, oh, that looks kind of far. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to hit that one. Yeah, I don't. There's a lot going on to make sure that people are missing their shots and that they're not comfortable playing. That's kind of the goal here. So we were at that point. I think we might have all been tied because we just kind of flip flop positions, I feel like. So we were first, so we were at 6. Yes, I think we were probably tied at that point. Or did my sons come in third? Maybe not, but we're all different now, right? So no one's running away with it. We're all kind of like in the mix here. And then the next morning we go to Crave in the morning, and it was it raining? We decided to go because it rained just a teeny little bit, even though the whole weekend was supposed to rain a lot. We ended up doing the indoor Crave golf first, which was really nice. But we all decided that we were throwing away these silly hop on 1 foot rules, and we were just going all in mini golf, right? So we decided to go and play that in the morning, and then we had an escape room. So we did our first escape room, which was fun. It was a short one though. It was a 30-minute, and it was called Mayday something. It was, you were trapped in a submarine or a ship or submarine. It felt very much like that movie where the ship flips upside down and they got to get out that super duper old. Yeah. That was always a tough movie to watch, to be honest with you. Like, cause I was always like, man, that would be the worst. But anyway, it was just a 30-minute escape room where, you had to close the 3 doors to, the 3 doors of the ship to not let the water rush in. And it was well done in terms of theming. And it was definitely a beginner type safe room, but it was kind of neat because you're under the ship, man. They had the air conditioning like pumped up in there on purpose to make it really feel like you were like underwater and it was freezing cold. And it was really cold. But amazingly enough, the one kid that I would have expected to like totally not be helpful was the most helpful one and the best at the escape room, which was always interesting to see. But we completed it with like 2 minutes and something left. We had a really good time and everyone really enjoyed it. But I could see where the repetitiveness of an escape room comes in, even just by doing a one. Right?
I don't think so, because I know what you're saying, but there's certain themes that you do, but like if you go to different ones, they're all very different on how they do things. But there's certain patterns that you can look for, the combination to find, or like, as you do more of them, you're like, oh, these numbers on this sheet mean something, that kind of stuff. But most are just different and they have different things.
It was definitely fun though. And again, I think as a first one, letting it be a little bit easier and shorter was perfect for us. So
you should definitely do more though. Like you've been bitten by the escape room bug. You gotta do more.
Yeah, I looked. I don't know. We'll see.
There's probably a bunch in your area. They're everywhere.
It's very hit and miss. Like I get what you're saying, Damon. They can be very hit and miss.
I would probably try the other one there next time we go, because there was a second zombie one that I might try. That might be fun.
Those ones are always fun. They're very tense. You feel like
very I Am Legendish, I feel like.
Yeah, you need to get out quickly kind of thing.
There's one down here that there's one of their rooms, they're like, during the thing, somebody will be taken. Like they're going to turn the lights off and someone's going to be taken.
Oh, that would be cool. I'd do something like that.
Yeah, there's some crazy ones in this area. I'm sure you have some up there too.
Yeah. So at this point, we've played through, and I think the only way that we can lose, so we're ahead because we won, or I don't remember the exact scoring, but at this point, it kind of is going to work like this. If we just don't come in third, we win. We're playing the outdoor crave that night. And it was just like, if we don't come in third, we win. But there's opportunities for everyone because we went double points. We decided to call double points for number 4. In between this, we also went go-karting. We just went to the place right next door. It was, $7.50 a ride. The kids did one ride. I didn't ride. My wife didn't ride because you almost have to go-karting when you're there. So we ended up doing that. And I would say that, just real quick on the food, we ate at this place, JT Hannah's, which we've eaten before, which was fine. We ate there once or twice. The rest of the places were fine. Like, again, nothing crazy. Like, I'll tell you, I was disappointed in Bennett's, and I am a big proponent of calling Bennett's probably my favorite barbecue. Not anymore, man. Like, not anymore. I think that the food industry has been hit a little different, right? With Jim and Nick's taking baby back ribs off the menu, Tom, like, I think that's just a travesty. Yeah, that's a travesty. And then Bennett's, like, it was just okay. It wasn't great. It was just okay.
Oh, wow.
That was about food wise. That's kind of the big thing about food, besides the fact that there was a Rita's there, which was, it's Rita's, right? Like, so there's, don't have to say anything. We went there, obviously. And Rita's has this new thing where now instead of, 2 new things, actually. I don't know, last time, you don't have one by you, right, Tom? I don't think so. I don't think there's anyone in North Carolina at all anymore.
There was, but I don't know.
There was, but I don't think there is.
Yeah,
we had one in Cary, but that closed as well. So I don't think there's one close for us, but they have a 5-layer gelati, which is perfect. You get 2 different flavors, and that worked out great. But they also now have custard mixes. Like, so instead of just vanilla and chocolate, they have like a gelato type scooping custard where they have like a Reese's Pieces one and stuff like that. But that place was great. Can never go wrong with Rita's. So we did that. And now we're going back in double points. And like I said, the only thing we have to do is not choke and come in last. But everyone has an opportunity to win because, it just depends. Double points are the great equalizer. There's 19 holes on these courses because the last hole is actually kind of neat. What happens is like at Toy Box, you hit into a light bright, and the way that your ball comes down through all the pegs and stuff, you can either get like -2 strokes, you can get additional strokes, you can get all sorts of crazy stuff. That's always cool. And then you also spin a wheel and you can get a prize and you can go in and get candy or toy or whatever it is. Now, both of these places have tons of different candy too, which was kind of neat. So we're playing this course and there's 19 holes because you have this last special hole where really all you're doing is just punching it in, right? Okay. We're at about hole 16, 17. And it's going off the rails for us. Like we're not playing well, me and my wife. It's bad. And I look at the scorecard and I'm just like, you added a hole.
Oh no. Like, so, added a whole hole in? Like, just...
Yeah, added a whole hole. And so we were like, okay, we're just going to let it be for now. Let's finish up first. Because the big thing is after we finished, we were scoring it and auditing it. Right? We have to have an auditor for the scoring process. So we finished it up, and the thought was as well, okay, it doesn't really matter. I'm sure you just wrote down the same thing. Now, my wife will be mad. I'm going to say this. She was getting lazy, though, at this point. Like, She wasn't getting the scores right after the hole. She was like, oh, I forgot. What did you get on the last hole? Sort of nonsense that was going on here. And there's this extra hole. So we think that, well, it shouldn't be that hard. We can kind of figure out based on the fact, like, did you just score 2 holes the same, right? If they're right next to each other, that would make sense. No, that didn't happen. There's a huge discrepancy here. Everyone's pissed. Right? Like, people aren't just like, oh yeah, no, don't worry about it. No, everyone's pissed, right? Like everyone's pissed off at this point because we can't do anything. Like, well, what do we do?
What are you going to do?
Well, there was like, well, somebody was like, well, why don't you just, you can drop whatever hole you want. I was like, no, that's garbage. Cause if you got a 6 and the highest I got was a 4, you're hosing me. No, we're not doing that. You're not dropping a hole. That doesn't count. Yeah. Right. So there was a whole bunch of arguing going on about dropping holes, dropping your highest score, all sorts. Eventually we just decided we had to eat it. Nothing you're going to do. We're scoring. We ended up tying for second place, thank goodness, and winning. Now, the only thing that, and again, obviously the other two teams were like, no, this doesn't count. This is ridiculous, especially my sons, because they had a chance to win. It was just, they won that game, but they ended up losing just on points because we had gotten 2 second places. If we had come in third, they would have won the whole thing. But because we came in tied for second, they did not win. So there was a lot of hurt feelings there. There was some yelling at their mother. This did happen, and I did not stop it. I understood the frustration factor. All in jest, in jest.
You were also yelling because you were.
I was happy. Because, yeah. But the only thing we will say is that the scores were very distinct in terms of being very far apart. Like It was like 88, 88, and like 95, it was 83 and then like 88 and 88, right? Like they weren't like, it was 83 and then 284s. It was like, dude, they're 5 strokes away from each other. So I think it was like an 83 and 288s. Now, are the 288s there's where the problem is. But what happened is, when you think about it, because if our 2 scores were changed, our 88s were changed, and my daughter and my son's girlfriend beat us, they still don't win because they had to come in first. So that all that means is that the brothers win. So I don't think that they were going to argue too much because there was no win in it for them, no matter what happened, right? Because they were so far away. But there's a lot of discrepancy. There was some thought about some divorce papers being filed. Like there was all sorts of things that kind of went on here, but all in fun. And again, I think it was extremely fun to play 4 rounds of mini golf, but I would say 4 is where my limit exists. It was fun, but if you told me I had to play another round of mini golf, it would not have been fun. 4 was the perfect amount. I mean, it really was. And like I said, all the courses were extremely well done. Really enjoyed them. Super clean, super friendly people. Like, it's just, it's nice down there. Like I said, over there for us, it's nice. I mean, I like the area. I think there was still a million things that we could have done, that we just didn't do, right? Because when you're doing these one-off things do get a little pricey. Like we were going to zip line and it was going to be like $600. And I was like, look, that's fine if that's our big thing, but I can't do like lumberjack adventure, 4 rounds of mini golf. Mini golf, like, we found whatever coupons we could find, but with 6 people, you're still at like $80-$90 per round.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do lumberjack and that, and then drop $6 bills on zip lining. And at that point, like I was already like salty about the whole ropes course anyway. So I didn't care less about zip lining at that point, but it was a really fun trip. I like the Riverstone Resort and Spa. I definitely would stay there again. It was fun and the kids liked it, and it was definitely not that expensive, I want to say. So we were there 3 nights, like $1,400, which is not bad for a 2-bedroom. Yeah. That was pretty big. Yeah. So it was nice. I mean, we definitely had a enjoyable time at it, for sure.
Nice. That sounds like you had a good trip.
Yeah, it was a good trip. It definitely was a good trip. So there's our first detour in a while.
Yeah, it was nice to hear. I forgot what these trips are like for you, Damon. So
oh yeah,
it was good.
They're always fun.
Yeah, I do hope you do consider trying another escape room sometime, because like we said earlier,
I think so. I said, I think fun. What I would probably do though is I would probably wait and I would do another vacation-y one. I think that would be more enjoyable than trying to do one close for some reason. I don't know why, but
yeah, why would that be any different? It's great.
I don't know.
It's a fun night out, man. It's always a good time. Like my wife and I try to do them every once in a while, and we always have a good time doing them. So
yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, I guess we can get to some listener questions. We're definitely not going to do all of these because we put a lot on here, but
we could do them if you guys were just a little faster.
You want to just go? You want to go rapid fire through these? Okay.
I mean, just a little bit faster. That's all.
All right. So I'll read Jay's really quickly, and this is Jay from Charlotte, by the way. So, hey guys, love the show.
He's not on Facebook anymore, though.
Yeah, he's not on Facebook anymore, but he still listens every week.
But I don't so I want somebody to explain to me. So like, I get the like, hey, I don't want to be on Facebook because I don't want people bothering me. But just sign up with a name that nobody knows and don't friend anybody, man.
Oh man, I just don't even like want to have access to it. Like,
what do you mean?
Just like it's just I don't know. It's just so much negativity, and I don't know.
On Facebook?
Yes, on Facebook. Yeah.
but think about it. But hold on a second. But think about it like this: if you're only joining, like if you're making like an account where like your name, no one can find you, right?
Yeah.
And then you only join a few groups. What negativity are you getting?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you do it that way, that's fine, right? Yeah, if you just do it so like you're not.
I don't think I could not be on Facebook because I use it for all like my pictures. And then I told you to print that social book at the end of the year. Yeah, I love that thing, man. Like I do my posts just for me. I don't really care what other people think, but just for me, so I can then use it for the social book at the end of the year. So man, if I don't know, I couldn't live without Facebook. But go ahead.
All right,
let's continue.
We're booking next summer for our first trip with our new son, who will be about 13 months. My parents are coming as well to take care of him. They'll be renting points since they're not DVC members, and our measly 75 point. Don't say bad things about your contract, Jay. Your measly
it's definitely a measly 75.
It's a smaller contract. Yeah, 75 point contract can't cover us all. Now that Top of the World is open, we would love to finally go. Missed our opportunity in 2019. It's been closed every trip since. Since they're being more strict with only blue card members and guests on the reservation, though, that means parents probably can't join us. I don't think they have to be on the reservation. You can bring them as guests. Yeah. You can bring them in as guests. That's still possible.
But why would you not want to list them in your reservation anyway, just to make your life easier? I feel like.
Yeah, no, I don't see any downside. Yeah. I just don't know. I'm assuming they can be on two reservations. I don't know. Like, can their account with Disney be like connected to two different reservations? Is that going to be allowed?
I would say so because when I was looking at booking different things, at one point I actually had two different reservations for the same time under my account, and it didn't seem to care. So,
so then
you just link your My Disney experience together. Wouldn't that be enough?
They'd have to be on the reservation to get into the room, right?
But this is for Top of the World, though. So, I guess
I think they're also saying though to get it. He's saying also make things more convenient if they also had access to our room. Was the other thing we're saying here. So you can also just like if you have multiple magic bands, you could just give them an old magic band to take with them, like as their room key. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a bunch of magic bands. I could just give somebody my other magic band because all your magic bands should work on your room. So that's a way to do it. But I mean, you could also just add them to your reservation. There's no downside to that. I mean, I would just call member services and ask and make sure that it's not a problem, So that's what I would do.
Yeah, I feel like the magic band is probably the easiest way because if they're on multiple, it might mess up things for them possibly. But I mean, as far as Top of the World goes, if it like going to the lounge, last time I went with my parents, we just went up and we said, we have our blue card and we could get up to 4 guests on with the blue card. And they didn't question whether my parents were on our reservation or not. They just let them in because they were coming with us with our blue card. I would assume and again, this is the problem, is that we haven't been since Top of the World is reopening here. But I would assume it would be handled similar.
Yeah, exactly. So blah blah blah. I'm even just pulling it up here. So membership extras.
My opinion on this would be, just go with your blue card. You should be able to get them into Top of the World. That's the first thing. And then, I agree with you on the part about giving them just a spare magic band because, you can have multiple magic bands active on your account. And as long as you give them one, they can, they can get into your room. I think that would be easier.
So interestingly enough, I hadn't read this when we were talking about Top of the World, but I just pulled up the website really quick, and it does look like what he's saying is true, that they're only allowing. It says eligible members and their guests staying on that member's reservation are eligible. So you can't even just bring guests up anymore.
Oh, so they're even tighter on that then.
Yeah, I didn't see that when we looked at the initial article. I must have missed that. So yeah, that's wow. I mean, that's pretty strict.
Yeah.
Although it says, I mean, here's the thing though too. It says at least one member of the traveling party must accompany the group and present their current Magic Band membership card and photo ID to gain access. So it's not like they're checking everybody on the reservation. I mean, it might be like if you're like trying to bring 10 people and there's only 3 people on your reservation, then, maybe that's a problem. But, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe put them on the reservation then just to make sure that you're going to be allowed up. I had not seen that. That is, I totally missed that part. So it's interesting. So yeah, right. I would just call member services and ask, man. Even just do chat. Like I always do chat with member services if I can. In fact, I just did it the other day. Because I was having a problem syncing up my my profile with my mom's profile. My mom had to buy through her tickets through her own profile because she was getting Florida tickets, which they have Florida resident tickets like 40% off right now, right? So it's like, make your own profile, verify you're a Florida resident, and get that discount, and then we'll just hook up accounts. But we were having an issue doing that; it just wasn't working right. And member services fixed it right up for me, right through chat. So yeah, just go on chat and they'll be able to fix that for or answer that question for you, I guess. So,
right.
Anything else with this?
I think that's the best answer we can give at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we have to see how. I mean, Top of the World has to open up for us to kind of get a better idea of how strict they are with it and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Is like, I mean, it's about to open back up, right? Isn't it July 11th? Are you listening? If you're listening right now, I think it's going to be open.
Yeah. So as of this podcast, we can't speak to that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's as we're recording this, we can't speak to it, but it opens as you're listening to this. So anyway,
all right.
July 11th. So okay,
let's see. I know Damon had to step away. He may come back to answer this. We'll see. But Dan says, what's the most underrated and overrated type of hole in mini golf?
I don't even know what that means. Like type of hole. I mean, I think anything good. Yeah.
There's different obstacles and stuff that you can use in a mini golf course. Like you always get like the loop, right?
We don't play any loops recently, but I don't just know what underrated and overrated means though. Like hardest and not hardest, that's different, right?
Favorite, least favorite.
But like
favorite, least
underrated,
favorite,
overrated.
Yeah.
I don't know. The volcano is definitely a toughie. Yeah, that's a toughie. Now what they've been doing is that what I've seen now is like, they'll have like a hump, right? And on the backside of the hump is where the hole is.
Oh,
it's another tough one.
Yeah.
It's another tough one. I mean, I think maybe if you're talking about overrated, I think the loop is an overrated one.
Yeah.
Like, because the problem with the loop, and there was no loops, I think the loops have kind of gone out of style a little bit, but I think the problem with the loop is you don't have a lot of control over it.
Yeah, there's no precision to it. It's just hit it and hope that you get a good line.
Yeah, I think that, I like holes that like you stand a chance at. And there were some interesting holes that they had, but yeah, the volcano, and I say that, recently what they've been doing too is I've noticed that if they have an extremely hard hole, they'll have it like, the hole, like it will go downward into the hole like they have at the Disney ones. You know what I mean? Like the Disney ones are super easy because around the hole, it's all, it's all curved.
You get a funnel, right?
Yeah, funnel. We can use that. So yeah, they've been using the slight funnels to like kind of help out. And I don't like that. Like I get why you do it, especially on a super duper hard hole, but no.
I don't even want to do the underrated and overrated, but for me, like I enjoy any hole that involves a water feature of some sort, whether that be jumping over the water or waterfalls or whatever. I enjoy that. I also feel like, okay, I'll say an underrated thing because you don't see it as much anymore is when there's the last hole where if you get it into a certain place, then you get like a free game or something like that. I feel like you don't see that much anymore. And that used to be really fun to try to like the last hole, try to get it in. There was one.
Yeah, they have that at
yeah.
Hilton Head and it's not the last hole per se. I think it's like some of them are it's certain holes that if you get a hole in one at, and then it's the last hole plus some other hole, something like that. But yeah, they still have that floating around down there.
There was one I grew up with that it was like almost like a skee ball kind of thing. And like you had to get it in like the top corner. And if you hit the top corner, like alarm bells would go off, a siren. It was like a big deal. Oh, and like that was always so cool to me, you know? So
agreed.
Yeah. All right. I think we should probably do our ad right now because we're pretty far in. So why don't we go ahead and do our ad and then we can answer a couple more questions here and keep going. So this week our ad is for Monera Financial. Monera, a World of DVC company, is the industry leader for financing DVC resale contracts. Monera offers lending with the longest terms available at 12 years, the option of no credit check, instant approval, low down payments, and no prepayment penalties. If you're thinking of purchasing a DVC contract on the resale market, go check out their quick online quote first. You might be surprised at just how affordable joining DVC can be. Go to monerafinancial.com or call 317-245-8800, and when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right. So, what else we got here? What else do you guys want to answer this? I mean, we don't.
Let's.
Damon, you said you were excited about this question, so you know.
I was. I like Casey's question.
All right.
I like Casey and Bernice's question.
All right.
I mean, I can make the other ones real quick. Best and worst bathroom in each park. It's a freaking bathroom. Who cares? Like, I pee in it and I leave. Like, it doesn't really matter to me so much. And then Chris, what Disney movies do people love that you just don't like? I mean, that's a tough question. I'd have to think about that.
That's a long one. I feel like there could be a whole waitlist episode.
It really could be. So, Casey's, which would you prefer? Preferred seating for fireworks or preferred seating for a parade? So, really, what you're asking is, do I like fireworks or parade better? And amazingly enough, the answer is fireworks.
Wow.
Yeah, because parades are so boring. I don't know. I think I would take preferred seating for fireworks over preferred seating for parade. That's just me personally, though.
I actually agree with this. I would go fireworks over parade because, especially at Disney, because people will like stake out places for the fireworks like an hour ahead of time, and to have preferred seating for that instead of having to wait for that, I mean. Parades, you can kind of see them going on from a distance. I know you can do that with fireworks too, but like, Trevor, you can attest to this, right? When we saw Harmonious at Epcot, like we weren't in the best spot to watch it, right?
No,
like we could have been in a better spot. And like, even though we could see it, like there was a better spot that we could see it from, so
we would have had to start looking about 30 to 45 minutes earlier than when we started.
Yeah. We didn't prepare. Like we just showed up last second, completely last second. So yeah, I would prefer fireworks.
Yeah. And actually, so it's funny. I realized I've actually done both of these things because I've done preferred seating for Happily Ever After. And then we watched Paint the Night with preferred seating. Yeah. So Paint the Night, I think because that was a very unique parade. I would never do it for a daytime parade. And actually I don't even know if I would do it for most other nighttime parades. I think that one was the exception to the rule. Like you guys, I would go for fireworks first.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you want to do Bernice's question?
Yeah.
We can. Yeah.
So Bernice says, not Disney related, but what is the dinner time like in each of your households? Does your family get to eat together? Is dinner put on the table? The kids complain and say that what there is or does.
That's what there is. Yeah.
And say that's what there is, or does everyone eat something different? All three of you definitely have different palates. Dinner could be a real challenge.
I mean, yeah. Go. You can go first.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends, honestly, on the day of the week for us. There's, during normal days, like during school and when we're all working, we do try to commit to sitting down and, making sure we're all just taking the time to sit for a half hour or whatever and eat. So we plan for that during weekdays. On the weekends, there's a lot of days where it's every man for himself, and it's kind of whenever. And I guess this is because my son's at an age where he can fend for himself. When he was younger, it was definitely like we just always sat down every night. We would go out every once in a while, but it was always committing to sitting down for for that meal every night. And we always like to eat earlier. Like I know some families, like I have friends that don't eat until like 8:00 at night. And to me, that's really late. I'm usually eating around like 5:00. So, yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah. See, I'm not even like, well, my wife doesn't even get home from work till like 6:00. Right. So like,
right.
So for me, it's like, with a 4-year-old, my daughter goes to bed at 7:00 every night. Right. So like she tends to eat, I mean, and this will change as she gets older, right? Like we'll definitely, we're going to make it a point to all eat together, and we do sometimes, but usually my daughter eats separately from us, and then we tend to eat after she goes to bed, just because we don't have time. Otherwise, we just literally don't have time to do it all before she goes to bed. So, but when she gets older, it'll be a little bit different. But yeah, right now it's kind of my daughter eats by herself, and then my wife and I eat separately. So
I think the only time we eat together is Thanksgiving. Honestly, for me, for my family,
oh wow,
yeah, the kids are just the sports are just they're tough.
Sense.
Like I mean, so again, like a normal day is my middle one having practice from 3 to 5:30, my daughter having practice at 5 to 7, and when my other son was playing soccer, his practice was sometimes 6 to 8. Like it just doesn't work, right? So I don't think we've eaten together besides Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? So you got Thanksgiving, Christmas, and everyone's birthday. We never eat together. And food wise, my wife usually cooks the same thing for everybody, but if someone's going rogue, there's usually other food. And remember, my parents live with us, so a lot of what will happen is like my daughter will be like, I don't want to eat that. I wonder what they're having downstairs for dinner. Right? Like she'll just go downstairs. What are you guys having for dinner? So there is a lot of that happens. But yeah, we can't eat together. Like even like if I just think about tomorrow, right? So Monday, my son's got practice in the morning from 9. Monday. Yeah. So Monday's 9 to 11, and then he's back there in the afternoon, I think, right? From 3 to 4. And my other one will be out doing something else. My daughter's got tennis or something. Like, no, it just never works for us. Never works for us.
I get that. Yeah, I could see that being a challenge. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got all of our listener questions.
All right.
Damon, did you want to talk about the Splash Mountain thing before now, or do you want to?
Well, it depends how long you guys are going to meander on about Top of the World.
Well, I mean, we also have Carousel of Progress before that too. But
I feel like these are very short things. But knowing you, Tom, I get nervous that they're not.
Why is it me? It's not me.
It's usually you.
I don't think that's true.
You think it's Trevor?
I don't think it's either one of us. I think we just talk and it just happens, right?
I think it's a group effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see Chris's post today?
No. No, what was it?
I'll let you see for yourself.
Oh no, I don't. Now you're gonna make me like.
Anyway, all right. So Top of the World.
Am I gonna be offended by this? Like,
no.
Okay.
Top of the World Lounge to offer nightly paid events. I think this is great, right? They're gonna test a nightly member package, villains lairs, snacks, and reserved seatings for a fee. But they're only doing it right from July and August, kind of as a test sort of thing. Is my guess and hope. I don't think it's bad. Right? Like
no.
You get it's pretty much like a fireworks package, I feel like.
That's exactly what it is, right? Except with seemingly less like food and stuff. I mean, given it's cheaper, right? Like, but
yeah, but that's even better, right? Because how much food do I want to eat that late at night anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, this puts it at one of the cheapest fireworks reservations on property.
Yeah, but the thing is, I will say is like, the fireworks from there are just okay.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I mean, they're just okay.
I really don't like watching the fireworks from there. It's
so far, right?
Yeah, they're far away, and they're like it's like skewed, right? Like because when you're watching them from the castle, right? Like from in front of it looks like it's going right over the castle. But when you're watching them on the side, they're like it just almost like feels different and weird and doesn't make sense. Like
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I also I talked about this before. They play the show music over the speakers there, but you have some loud, obnoxious people. You're not hearing any of it, right? Like, and we've run into that before where there were people just like talking really loud and you just didn't hear the music at all. And it's so, I mean, like, listen, did you say how much it costs? I don't know if you said. And what
55, I did.
Yeah. So it's 55 and includes a cocktail, appetizer, and sinfully sweet treat from the lounge's new menu. So, I mean, it feels a little pricey for what you're getting there, but I mean, I guess you're paying for the reserved table too. I mean, yeah.
I mean, but like Trevor said, if you're talking about a fireworks show, it's the cheapest one. Like, I don't think it's pricey, but I still just don't love the view.
Yeah. That's the biggest detractor is that, you know, if I was really into watching the fireworks, I would go and pay for the one in Tomorrowland. I wouldn't.
Yeah. I agree.
This is, this is kind of I feel like this would be if I had nothing else going on and it was like, I could go for, cocktail and something and fireworks. Okay. But I mean, it's pretty low down the list.
I mean, do you guys think they're testing this as a thing to replace just going up there at all or testing?
I hope so.
See, I don't want to pay to go up there though. Like, I don't think anybody's going to pay to go up there all the time. Why do you hope so? I want to go up there.
I hope so. I want to have to pay to go up there
because then it's not really a perk anymore.
Yeah,
of course it is. Anymore. Why is it not a perk?
Because you got to pay.
But does everyone have to pay to go up there? Can everyone pay to go up there?
I mean, if you're making everybody pay to go up there,
what's $55 a person if you're at Disney anyway? Honestly, let's be real.
If you have a pretty big party, it's it could be a lot.
That's a lot of booths at Food.
I like this. Make everything pay. Everything.
I don't want to pay for it, but
I do.
See, I don't think that they're doing that. I think this is more of their replacement for knocking out the white card members, the non blue card members. That making
they can still
revenue.
Pay to go.
No, they can't go up at all. So
yeah, even better.
Yeah, so like this is you already have to have the ability to go up there and then pay.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, I don't want to pay for it. I mean,
the thing is, if you're going up there anyway, you're paying for stuff.
Yeah, but I don't spend $55 a person up there. Like,
I'm good with this.
Yeah,
coming. More of this.
I don't have a problem with this if it's just like an extra, right? Like, if it's just if they're not making the entire place have like a cover of $55, to get in. Like, I'm fine with just, a limited thing where
what if the members lounge costs money to get in? And
I would also hate that too. Like, I don't want to spend more money than I have to.
I wouldn't want to be stopping there in the middle of the day to rest my feet.
But that would mean less people would be there. That's better.
Well, yeah, it would mean that, but I would also,
I could actually get a seat every once in a while.
I mean,
and maybe even a charger and an iPad Pro. Nice.
I mean,
I could drink $20 worth of soda. Let's not get it twisted. I could do that.
Yeah, I've had pretty good luck up there. I haven't been up there yet where it's been so busy that
I haven't either, actually, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, and they've been limiting. I mean, they limit it, so they so it really. I mean, like you guys said, I don't think I've ever run into a situation where I couldn't sit there. So
yeah,
I just never get snacks.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on this, Tom. Is that I feel like if they want to offer these packages as a thing you can do up there, fine. But if this is the only way you're getting up there, I'm a little less interested.
Yeah, that would bother me. And I think it would be less of a thing that they could offer as a benefit, as a direct, sale. I mean, like, oh, we're going to give you access to this place, but you also have to pay an additional $55. You know what I mean? It's like,
love it.
And to me, it goes back to the point of, for me, it just automatically turns into, would I even consider going up there? No, because I'll just go for a proper fireworks dessert party if I really want to do that.
Yeah. I totally agree with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's all I got on that. See, that wasn't too long, Damon, right?
What time is it already? Gosh, okay. That's not so bad. Carousel of Progress future finale scene updated at Magic Kingdom now references Food Rocks. What the heck are Food Rocks?
The show Food Rocks that was back in back in Epcot in the day. You don't remember Food Rocks?
I don't really remember Food Rocks, to be honest with you.
Yeah, now you got to Google that. But I just like that they've updated their outfits so they're not, so they actually look like
his gray hair has been updated. Like there's an article about Grandpa's gray hair.
I mean, it's just because they changed all the clothes and everything, so they're not so outdated.
Listing all the stuff that they did, yeah.
Yeah, they just changed. I mean, listen, they didn't change the
technology.
technology.
Looking all right, a little Westworldy. Let's go.
I mean, these are good updates. Yeah. I think these look good, right?
They're not quite so 90s futuristic.
The one dude still looks like he came out of Back to the Future too, though. But that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, yeah, but they're better than they were for sure.
What are these shoes? These reindeer shoes? Is that what these are?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a reference to something. It's a reference to something. Hold on, I got to find. They actually call it out now. I actually did not.
There's their old outfits. That Mork and Mindy shirt's gone though. That was a good one.
The Mork and Mindy shirt. Yeah, that really was a Mork and Mindy shirt. Oh, so it's a reference to the floppy tongue reindeer originally featured in the parks in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
It's what that reindeer is. But I actually don't. That's not a reference I know. So this is a good call out by them. But
all right, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
When apparently this they're also, this article is saying that the logo on the Sun shirt is a reference to the Mineral King Ski Resort. Looks, I guess, something like the logo that was canceled, that project, but it looks like the logo that they released for it. So little Easter eggs that they put into here is kind of cool, you know?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
So just looking at it, I didn't realize how badly out of date that scene actually was.
Those outfits really were, yeah.
And we even saw it back in May, and I was just like, oh yeah, this is the futuristic scene, whatever. Like, man, it was bad. Like,
yeah, it was bad.
Yeah,
they were very outdated outfits. So yeah, listen, I mean, some of the technology there, right? I mean, like VR is still kind of, I mean, it's here, but it's not widely used, right? So it's still, you know, and it's still, I don't want to say up and coming, but it's still not completely mainstream. It's getting there, I would say. I mean, you guys will probably disagree because I don't have those.
Yeah, I don't like when Tom talks technology. It just hurts. It just hurts me.
I know a total of 0 people besides you two that have VR headsets. Like, it's not something that I know a lot of people that have it.
This stuff they're doing exists and more at this point.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's not like where everyone has one. That's all.
Like, I don't know people that don't have them.
Yes, you do. You're talking to me.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, besides you. Who doesn't have a VR headset, honestly?
I think most people. I bet if you did a poll in the group, the majority would say no, they don't have one.
Most of my coworkers don't have one either. Like, and that's, you know, even working in IT, you know, there hasn't been a huge
adoption. Not even that
it.
expensive anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting there, but there's still a barrier. I don't know what it's going to take for people to get on board with it at this point.
Listen, all I'm saying is that it's not crazy out of date in that it's, you know, VR is still a thing, right? Like, it's, you know, I know some of the stuff in here is out of date, right? But like, it's I mean, updating the clothes certainly helps, right?
How many people do you think have them? Because I just had to look it up.
Have VR headsets?
Sure, give me a percentage.
I have no idea.
I really don't know percentage. You say nobody has one, so what's your percentage?
I don't know.
It's 20%. 20% of households have them.
That's not that much.
That's a lot. 20% of households?
Yeah, I mean, that's not that much. I mean,
1 in 5?
Yeah. I mean, maybe some people have them that friends? I don't know. I mean,
I mean, like, are you saying you only have 5 friends? Like, what's the percentage?
I'm just. Can I just point out that, like, just minutes ago, Damon, you were saying that we are the ones holding it up. And
that's right.
But Tom gets me sometimes. His technology talk upsets me.
It
hurts me.
I feel these things are.
It's wrong. It hurts me.
No, but 20% is not the majority. It's below the majority. It's not a majority,
but it's a fair amount of people.
Yeah,
I have to break down how many millions of people that is. It's
a lot. I'm just saying it's not as ubiquitous as the smartphone. That's all. You know, it's like it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's all.
Yeah.
Yet. Yeah. Listen,
I didn't see any smartphones in that. Is there any smartphones in that?
There are not. No, I mean, VR's I think the two main pieces of technology they show are like VR and like voice activated stuff, right?
I feel the worst way they could update that future scene is to just replace everything that they're doing, and everyone just has a phone and they're not saying anything.
They're just no one's talking.
No one's talking to anybody, and not even looking at each other. Yes, that would be great.
Welcome to the future, and then everyone just goes and looks at their phones.
Yes.
Yeah,
that would be the Bayou Adventure. Is that what we're doing next?
Yep. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about this. Listen,
Bayou Adventure.
Yeah,
I just don't know how I feel about this. So coming in 2024, so we got a musical journey. First of all, musical journeys in general. I just don't love music in my entertainment. Like, music is a separate thing. Like keep
I mean,
them
it's in like every
chocolate
Disney
peanut butter
ride though. Like there's no like silent.
Yeah, I know. I
Disney
don't like it though.
rides.
We were watching some cartoons today. I think we were watching The Ghost of Molly McGee, and then we were watching something else. Oh, when we were watching Dead End Paranormal Park, which again was so good, by the way, if you haven't watched it, especially Gravity Fall fans, like you got to watch it. But like one of the second to last episodes was a musical, and then there's been a musical of The Loud House, and Molly McGee had too much. Dude, just keep your music out of my entertainment, man. Like, really. Like, music is music. Anyway, so how do I feel about this? It's The Princess and the Frog. Yeah,
I mean, they're singing on Splash Mountain now, though. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. That's what I feel like. It's okay. I think they're definitely shoving it in a little bit in terms of like, I don't see this in Princess and the Frog as, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's more of just plucking out the characters and sticking them into something. But it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it. I just think it's okay.
I mean, I think we'll just have to see how it comes out, right? Like, you know, I'm sure they're going to do their best. I mean, it does fit in that it's like, you know, that
the Bayou,
yeah. Like most of that movie takes place in like the Bayou, right? So,
yeah,
like, and that's not far off from the theme of Splash Mountain already, right? So
it's not a stretch by any means.
It's okay though. Like I feel like it's still a little bit forced, and I just felt like there could have been better things to do. But it's okay. Like it's not terrible. I mean, and listen, Splash Mountain in general is a ride that just exists for nostalgia, and you're taking away the nostalgia part of it. Forget about the theme of it. It doesn't matter what the theme is. Just think old nostalgia, because the ride itself is not anything special. It's the same thing as Peter Pan, right? Like, again, I would never wait up for Peter Pan anymore, but you go on it because it's nostalgic, small world, nostalgic. There's nothing crazy there, even Pirates, right?
It's a flume ride. It's a flume ride.
It's a flume ride. And it's not even a good flume ride, to be honest with you. If you took out
I think a lot of people would argue with you on that, because I know a lot of people that love Splash Mountain, not for the nostalgia, but love it for the flume ride part of it. But
you don't.
But there's so many better flumes than that.
Yeah, go ahead, Trevor.
We don't have good flumes around here, so I mean, Splash Mountain kind of it sets a bar for like most people don't have access to what you're talking about, Damon.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but like Dollywood, I think is a better flume. I think that Hershey's flume is better.
But truth be told, Damon, like most flume rides are like a lift hill and a big drop, and that's it. Like there's no theme to most flume rides.
Absolutely, I think is the Dollywood one like lumberjacky theme? Well, yeah, that makes sense, right? It's a long flume. I want to say the Hershey one's probably the same, but I just think in terms of the up and downs, there's better out there. So
for the thrill part of it, but the theme part of it, there's, I mean,
sure. I just don't know what you can. So I just don't know what you can do with theming unless you're going to go Navi style. That's going to
be like screens and animatronics,
which I don't necessarily think they're going to do. So again, like it's not going to be. It's just going to be a theme, right? It's not going to be anything that's pushing the boundaries. Like I feel like Navi pushed the boundaries a little bit with what it did, because listen, some of those dropping glowing things, like they did a lot of things that were cool and definitely has a different vibe and feel. And I just don't think they're doing that here, right? You're just going to get a new theme, and the ride itself is not
going to change.
It's nothing special.
Yeah.
It's nothing special anyway.
It's just an overlay. It's an overlay.
And I would like it to be like, I would love if they were telling me, listen, 2024, we're going to have, full walking, moving, 20 animatronics, playing, badminton in the Bayou. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm good. Right. Like, that would be cool. I just don't think we're going to get anything special here. We're just getting a re-theme, which for a ride like that is just,
Yeah, but you're probably going to get vastly improved animatronics, right? Because
do you think we're getting full blown animatronics? Do you think?
Yeah. Because the animatronics you have in there now were leftovers from a show that were like
from like the late '80s.
From the late '80s, yeah.
I think if they're going to go in and give us like an alligator animatronic that like really feels like an alligator, like that will be interesting. We'll see.
I tend to think they're going to go the route of like, what they did with the Frozen ride, like where those animatronics were more advanced. You know what I mean? Like and much more advanced.
I hope they don't use the
the face projection. No, I mean. No. I don't think they're going to go that route because they've even advanced further than that, right? Like that was the thing to do at the time that they installed that, right?
I have this feeling like we're not getting that. We're going to get this like old look animatronics. Like they're going to try to theme it to the old Splash Mountain-y look. Like they'll be better but the same. I don't know how else to put it.
I think what you're looking for is Mike and Sully to the rescue in California Adventure, where they took a terrible ride and they redid all of the animatronics in it as stuff from Monsters Inc. But if you look it up, you can see where the original animatronics were, and then what you got in Mike and Sully, which is it's not awful, and I mean it's a million times better than Superstar Limo, but you can still see that. Yeah, that's
what I fear a little bit.
It's kind of putting paint on something
I don't know if we're getting all new animatronics. If we are, that definitely makes me feel better. And if they can do an alligator animatronic that like looks cool, like the same as the Navi, same as the Navi River one that works sometimes, right? Like that's the other problem. Like that works sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. Man, I don't have high hopes for that. I think it's more of a repaint.
Well, yeah. No, I understand.
But 2024 is a long time away. That's the thing. That's what makes me a little like, okay, maybe they are going to do something because it's 2024.
Well, and they haven't even announced when they're actually going to close Splash Mountain, right? Like, so we don't even know when that's going to happen. But like, I don't know. I just tend to believe that they're going to have better animatronics than they have now. Because I mean, how could they not? The ones from the 80s. Like,
I think they might, but I just don't know if we're going to get Navi
River Journey ones. Yeah, I get that.
Which is what I want. I want like 10 of those.
You want like the really? I mean, but what if you get the Frozen ones? I mean, the Frozen ones are not terrible.
Frozen ones are not terrible.
Yeah, those are better,
What I would hope we get is I keep thinking about when we saw those previews from the Beauty and the Beast stuff in Shanghai, where like
that looks good.
It's not quite it's not quite the Navi stuff, but it's still
close,
way better than what we have today.
Yeah, I mean, and you're also going to get a cool like jazz soundtrack along with this too. I mean, like that's not a bad thing, right? Like,
it's good. Yeah, like Princess and the Frog had a good soundtrack.
It did. Mm-hmm. I agree.
And, yeah, I think it'll fit very nicely.
Can we make it really scary?
I mean, you could put some scary stuff in there, right? Like
Dr. Facilier's Wild Ride. Is that what you want?
I mean, listen, the only piece of concept art we have here, and at first I thought this was just concept art, and now that I'm looking at it closer, they have the boat in the background. So they have the alligator animatronic and like Tiana and Naveen there, right? Like, so, but again, we don't know what we're getting, right? Are they just going to have basic movements where they like move one arm, or are they going to have like, like you said, is the alligator really going to be like performing or look really real? I mean, we really don't know, right? So,
so the video does have Tiana in it?
Well, no, just there's one piece of concept art, and it's a still picture. It's not any. The videos are just kind of the background. I don't think they have.
Wait, so it's the first picture. It's like the what do they call that?
Where she's standing in the boat, and
where she's standing in the boat, and yeah. Like you can see the boat in the background there, right? Like, but although I don't know why they're facing away from the guests, that's kind of odd unless you're going to loop around them. But
I don't know. Like, I don't think that looks that great.
But we don't know what they're going to. We don't know what they're going to look like, really. I mean,
but we do. We're looking right at Tiana.
Yeah, I mean, this is just one scene, though, too.
And right? Louis not playing a trumpet.
Well, there's also that, right? But he could also just be in the Bayou here and then playing the trumpet later, right? Like it's part of the story.
Wait, what are you guys looking at? I'm looking at the first video, not the thumbnail. Look at the first video thumbnail, though.
Towards the bottom.
Yeah, but look at the first video thumbnail.
What?
Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Walt Disney Imagineer. There's her with the frog right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't look that great.
I'm not seeing it, but I don't know why.
Trevor, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see it. It looks like.
Oh yeah, no, not that.
When she's in the gown. Yeah, when she's in the gown holding the frog, right?
The frog.
Yeah, no,
look that impressive.
Well, no, I don't think that's the animatronic though. That looks like a statue. Like. Yeah.
I hope.
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, that doesn't look. I guess I have to find the spot in the video, but I think that's just a statue. So
I hope
I
so.
don't know if that's actually in the. I started watching the video and like.
Well, it's not even in the same outfit that they're going to have her.
It's in a museum or something. Like, yeah, that's like
that must be because it's not even the same outfit, right? She's going to have her Bayou gear on.
Yeah, it's going to be totally different. Yeah. So no, I'm looking at the picture that's towards the bottom. Oh, it's really kind of in the middle. Yeah, and it's right above.
Picture?
Yeah, a cartoon picture. Yeah, that's what I was looking.
Well, that's not doing anything for us. It's a cartoon.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't really. We don't really have a lot of information about this, right? Like, they've released very little, right? So,
yeah,
I really don't think we really know what this is going to look like until it gets closer, right? I think there's even still probably working on the plans for it now, right? Like, but yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see. I really don't know what to expect with this.
I actually didn't even notice the people in the log flume.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I didn't notice that when I first looked at it, so I just thought it was like concept art and that it wasn't like from the actual ride. But now that I see people behind them in the log,
I feel like that could be that because there's that one part where you do almost like a U-turn, and so you kind of go around the like one of the scenes. I feel like it would be something like that. But they could
definitely do some cool stuff with if you've ever seen oh gosh, I forget what it is. It's like the Haunted Mansion in like Tokyo where they have like the
Mystic Manor.
Yeah. Where they have like the sparkles like in the sky, like, and it's just they look like they're floating in the air. Like it almost looks like they're going to do a similar effect here with lightning bugs, you know, where they're going to have it just like there's going to be some of that. I don't want to necessarily want to call it technology. I guess it is. It's like projection onto like this invisible mesh where it looks like these things are floating in the air. It kind of looks like they're going to use that a lot in this ride just from the concept art.
So Damon, I guess that works out because if the animatronics are bad, they can hide them with this mesh. So
there you go.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, we really just don't know what this is going to be, right? They're giving us very basic details right now. Sure, there's a new outfit for Tiana. Okay, cool. Like, you know, that's good too, I guess. But this is really like, I don't want to say the first because they obviously shared this a couple years ago now, but like I think this is our very like real first look here, and then we're going to really see what it's going to be later on. So
this is the solidified. This is happening now, and we know dates and end of 2024 is what they're saying.
Which, you know, if this is going to be a big job, I mean, I would assume. Either late 2023 or early 2024 they shut this down, you know, and it's going to be closed for probably a year or so at least, I would think.
I feel like because they've kind of hinted at that the interesting thing about this is that they're already doing a lot of the work. Like it seems like they can get a lot of stuff done without it being actually in the ride because it is an overlay.
Yeah.
And then it makes the actual ride closure time a lot quicker.
Well, because they're not going to change the actual ride itself, right? It's really more of changing the aesthetics, right? So they can do that a lot quicker than if they were doing a full rebuild of the ride. You know, with like Frozen, for example, they changed some stuff of the track, like they changed where the entrance was and stuff like that. But like for the most part, it was exactly the same as
Maelstrom.
Maelstrom, yeah, I couldn't think of it for a second. Yeah, but I mean, essentially, the ride track was pretty much the same.
Yeah,
for the most part. So I mean, they obviously had to do a lot of aesthetic work there too, right? Because they had to close off where the opening was. You know, they had that opening to the outside where the drop was, and they closed that whole thing off. And so there was a lot of work there. But this is, they've shown some outside stuff here where it is going to have some different stuff on the outside, right? Like they showed like a tree that is going to be at the top of the hill and stuff like that. So there's going to be some of that, but yeah.
I didn't really think about that. I guess, the whole outside of the ride is going to look different, and you're not going to have the briar patch in the middle.
I mean, anymore. Maybe, I don't know. Did they show that that's going to be gone? I don't know. I mean, because that's a key part of the ride, right? Where it looks like you're going into the briar patch.
Drop.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they'll have something different but similar. I don't know. So, but this will be interesting to learn more about as we get closer, right? So, all right. I think we talked about that one enough, right?
Yeah. Let's go on. I think we're going to lose Damon here now because we're going to talk about character dining.
This one is big for me, actually. I was extraordinarily excited when this popped up because my daughter is a huge Winnie the Pooh fan, right? And it was bothering me that we couldn't go to Crystal Palace and see all the Winnie the Pooh characters because she loves Eeyore. Eeyore is her favorite. Every kid I think has that stuffed animal they carry around everywhere with them. She has an Eeyore stuffed animal that she carries around everywhere. It's her best friend, right? Like, so for her to get to meet Eeyore was like a big thing. And I was really bummed that Crystal Palace wasn't doing character dining. And then I saw this article pop up and I'm literally like in the midst of my planning, right? Like I'm heavy planning right now because I got to do dining reservations in a couple weeks, right? So we bought our tickets. We did all that over the past couple days here just to get everything, ready to go. And no joke, because this is a long trip and we have several families coming in and out, right? Like I made a calendar and where we're writing down all of our plans because when you're there for 11 days, 10 nights, there's a lot of planning that needs to happen, right? Like even if we're taking it a little easier,
So for your previous trips, you didn't have a calendar or anything for planning it?
Not really, because we would usually do like 8 days and it was typically just us and one family, right? For this, it's like we have, one set of family coming the first couple days, the first like 4 or 5 days, then another set of family coming the next couple, the next part of the trip, and people are leaving and coming. So like it's a little more complicated than it usually was.
Right.
In the past, we've made a plan. I just didn't do it like on a calendar, right? Like,
I've always used a calendar for planning my stuff. I'm just
no,
I didn't
we just
think
did it
people
differently
did it
in the
without
past.
a
Yeah,
calendar.
yeah.
Right.
I used to make an Excel spreadsheet. This was just a little bit more visual,
okay.
but I actually have a little bit of a conundrum that I'm going to throw out here and see if anybody can give me thoughts on this. Right, so we're doing one park per day. Like, so the families that are coming with us, right? They're there for 4 days. So it's 1 day each park. That's it. We're not even doing park hoppers, right? Like we're just doing 1 day per park. The problem is our Magic Kingdom, we're there during the Halloween parties, right? So the days that there's the Halloween party going on, it closes at 6 at Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of the other days, it's crazy busy, right? Like, so I subscribed back to Touring Plans again, and because I like their crowd calendars. I feel like they're very, they're based on data and they're very, they're pretty accurate, right? So
yeah,
I'm just looking at the crowd calendars and like, they're like 8 out of 10 and 9 out of 10 any day there's not a Halloween party. And that makes sense, right? So, and we planned on doing Hoop-de-Doo Review. And we also want to do Crystal Palace, but we also want to do Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, right? So the problem I'm running into is I can't do all those things in 1 day, right? Because what my plan is because the crowds are so low on the Halloween party days, let's take advantage of that, right? Like we'll go on the day of the Halloween party, and then Hoop-de-Doo Review is at 6:15. Park closes at 6. Perfect, right? We'll just leave the park early when it was going to close anyway, and then go do Hoop-de-Doo Review. And then it works out. We had low crowds that day, hopefully got a lot done, and then did Hoop-de-Doo Review at 6:15. The thing is, like, I can't imagine also doing Crystal Palace and Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique in that short time period. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to decide what to do,
Because, I guess, sorry, I'm reading this now. Crystal Palace is only doing lunch and dinner.
Exactly. If they were doing breakfast, this solves my problem, right? But because they're not doing breakfast, it messes me up, I think.
So before we get back into that, let's actually just make sure everyone knows what we're talking about.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because we kind of got on a rabbit
September 20th, Crystal Palace is coming back with Winnie the Pooh and Friends. So, and then doing lunch and dinner. Good.
Yeah, lunch and dinner there. And then Ohana is opening for breakfast at the Polynesian Resort. And that's with Stitch and Mickey and Lilo. And then
that's on the 27th. That's the different date, 27th.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. And then where is it? The
Beach Club.
Cape May Cafe at Disney Beach Club has Minnie and Friends opening up. And where's the date on that?
That is October 4th.
October 4th. Yeah.
Yep.
So a couple of different places opening up and these are all character dining specific. So back to what you were talking about, Tom, is the challenge is that I was thinking like, well, if you go for breakfast, you could do Crystal Palace for breakfast and then, do Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique and then Hoop-de-Doo in the evening, and that would work out.
I just don't want to eat up my whole day with character greet. Like, we want to do stuff in the park, so, and because it's a shortened day, it makes it a little bit more challenging because Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is not a short time period thing. And now my wife had initially said, okay, well, let's do it towards the tail end of the trip. But I think my mom really wants to do it do this with my daughter, and they're there for the first half of the trip. So I think I need to say to them, like, hey, what's the priority, Bippity Boppity or Crystal Palace? Like, which one do we want to do? And then my other thought was too, is like, okay, well, what if we did Hoop-de-Doo the day before, right? Like, because we're planning on doing having a full day our first day, right? And we're going to do Animal Kingdom because we're just like, okay, we're here at Animal Kingdom Lodge. We have to travel a little bit to get there that first day. Just make it easy, right? Animal Kingdom's right there. Makes sense. We can even do that. We can have that done by 6:00 and then go over. We can even just drive ourselves over to Hoop-de-Doo because we'll have cars, right? The problem is then it kind of makes my plan of like taking advantage of the short day at Magic Kingdom kind of a moot point, right? Like it's kind of like, okay, well now we're done at 6. Now what are we going to do with ourselves? So that's what I'm just trying to like figure out how to make this work and make it make sense,
Let me pose a bit of perspective there because you are doing a longer trip.
Yeah.
You say, well, you feel like you're not utilizing your day to the most because the park closes early and you feel like going back to your room that you're not really getting the most of it. I don't actually think that that's a bad thing, even if you don't have anything planned in the evening.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is that the longer you go on in the trip, your endurance is going to wane. So
and we have some down days scheduled in here, right? So like we've got some cool days, we got some chill days, right? Like
even with planned down days, though, getting to the latter half of the trip, you'll find that you still like we've done this as well, where we've had days where we get so far into it and we call it because we're like, nah, we're tired.
Yeah,
like,
we're tired.
Like,
yeah,
we're done, right? So I would say, if you really want to do all of these things, it makes sense to move Hoop-de-Doo to another day, because if you're going to Crystal Palace, I would not plan for another, especially something like Hoop-de-Doo.
Yeah.
To me, that seems like too much, too close together.
Yeah, too much food even, right? Because they're both buffets, right? Like, so I'm almost wondering if I do it that first night and then I schedule the latest possible dinner I can for Crystal Palace on that day. And then and then I can just, and then we could even have a little bit of holiday party, crossover, maybe even a little bit, right? Like,
exactly. Yeah. You, what you could do is just think of it as, you're kind of ending your day with go to Crystal Palace, do all that. Keep in mind, if you're doing Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique as well, your daughter's not like, you're not going to be on a ton of rides or anything anyway, because usually whenever I see those girls that do Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, it's, they go in, they do characters, they do pictures and stuff like that. But then, they don't want to necessarily ruin their hair or their dresses or anything.
Yeah, see, this is what I was trying to figure out though. Like, cause I'm like, is my daughter going to want to be in the park all day like that? Right. I don't know, because I haven't done it before. Right. Like, so I need advice from people on this. Like, does your kid want to be that way all day?
That's kind of the thinking, is that, maybe you do that, you do Crystal Palace, and then you can go back. And then that way it's not you getting to the point of, her having enough or having a meltdown or whatever. Right. You can kind of go back to the hotel. You get, a bit of a break in the evening, and then your daughter can, do whatever she wants with, or like, you can do stuff with her, but when she says she's done, you just call it, right?
Yeah.
Again, not exactly the same thing, but my son with, when we took him for the nights thing at Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique in Disneyland, he had his hair done up, he had the sword and the shield and everything. What I found was after about 2 hours, we were carrying all the stuff because he was not interested in carrying it anymore. And he kind of, he was kind of done with it after a couple of hours. Right.
I guess
so, but again, every kid's different. I've seen some little girls where I see them multiple times throughout the park where they're with their family and they're just loving doing the princess thing and they're in it the whole time. I mean, you'll have to kind of see how your daughter reacts to that. But yeah, my opinion would be, or this would just be me, is I would plan for doing the boutique and then, having Crystal Palace. And then that kind of is like a wind up to the day. And then you go back to your hotel and she can continue to, be a princess around the hotel. But then when she's done, it's easier, I guess, instead of being in the park and if she's saying, I don't want it, I don't want my hair like this anymore, or, I'm done with the dress, you're back at the hotel. right? So
yeah. Well, and this is a complicated thing, right? So because my sister has decided she's going to come too, and she also loves Winnie the Pooh characters. Like she's also obsessed with Eeyore as a 30-something adult. So she badly wants to go to this. So she's like, I'm gonna get a ticket that day, because she's gonna come, but like she has to work, right? So she's just gonna hang out at the hotel and like do other stuff with us, right? But I'm like, well, you can do Hoop-de-Doo because you don't need a ticket for that, right? Like it's at Fort Wilderness, right? So like I'm trying to figure out how to make this work, but I was also kind of looking forward to the boat ride from Magic Kingdom over to Fort Wilderness, I'll be honest too. So that's part of why, like in my mind, I was like, I've made this perfect plan, right? Like we're gonna do a 6 o'clock day. The Hoop-de-Doo starts at 6:15. We'll leave the park like 5:30. We'll get over there. We'll do Hoop-de-Doo, and like it's a perfect day. But then this comes up now because we weren't even planning on doing Crystal Palace. This was not even in our plans because they weren't doing the character dining. And now that they're doing it, it's like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, again, it would be fine with breakfast, but it's just like, it's too much with lunch and then dinner. I don't know, man. It's tough.
Maybe, again, I'm just going to keep playing devil's advocate here because...
No, that's what I want. This is what I need. Yeah, I need someone to tell me how we can make this work in my head and make it, yeah.
Well, but you, so I'm going to highlight the first thing you said, which is this was not on the table to begin with.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah.
So you had already figured out a plan, and Crystal Palace was not in there to begin with.
Yeah.
So you're going to have multiple trips back with her.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
I mean, you don't you don't have to do Crystal Palace this time. And
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like I need to. Like, this is, I don't know. This one is, I mean, I'd rather do Crystal Palace over Hoop-de-Doo. Like, we're only doing Hoop-de-Doo because it's a nostalgic thing for my mom, right? Like, so it's, and I mean, I haven't done Hoop-de-Doo in forever either. So, I would do it too.
I guess that's the thing is that, if you're like, I've done Hoop-de-Doo and I know, like for me, Hoop-de-Doo is a lot fresher in my mind, and I would go, yeah, I would do that again. Or like my whole family would be in on it because we like your mom, we do have the history, or we have recent history with it that we would go back to. But same thing with Crystal Palace is that, we do talk about, for us, it's, are we going to go to, Crystal Palace? Are we going to go to, Garden Grill, whatever. And so, obviously we kind of default to the one we like the most. You're kind of having the same problem here.
But at Epcot, we're going to do Garden Grill too, right? Like we're going to do multiple character stuff. But I know that my daughter is going to lose her mind when she sees the Winnie the Pooh characters. Like, because I mean, no joke, I swear half the things that we watch on Disney Plus in the show are Winnie the Pooh related, right? Like she found this like puppet show from like 10 years ago of Winnie the Pooh, like in puppet form, doing Winnie the Pooh stories, and she's obsessed with that like now. So like the kid loves Winnie the Pooh, and I feel like she's not going to care at all about Hoop-de-Doo, right? Like that one is not even for my daughter, because I don't think she's gonna, I mean, she'll enjoy it, but like there's no characters in it that she's gonna identify,
right?
Like,
but I guess I guess the thing is would I could argue that if we're I'm gonna quote Inside Out, it could be you could establish a new core memory
day. Yeah. No,
right.
No, it's true. But, it's totally true. I've talked about this before. One of my very earliest memories of Disney World from being a very little kid, probably around my daughter's age, is Hoop-de-Doo Review. Like I remember waiting to get into that show. I remember pieces of the show, not much else, right? Like I just remember those little things. And I mean, but I don't know, man. I think what the right thing for me to do is probably to do it the night before, like, just leave Animal Kingdom, drive over there,
split it up.
Yeah, split it up, and then do Crystal Palace for dinner that night and not care that it closes at 6 o'clock that day. Just be like, whatever. Like,
I think, so again, you have to remember your daughter's not going to have the endurance that you have.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah,
I know
that's true too. Yeah,
I know you're thinking about this like, you want to get in as much as you can. And I did the same thing with my son when we were younger. And I admit a couple of times I pushed it too far.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we realized when it was like, my son was falling asleep waiting for the fireworks, we were like, we probably should have just called this now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it's hard in your head to say, but we have all that time from 6 p.m. on. you're also
she's going to
staying
conk out at like 7:00.
exactly,
like,
and you're staying in Animal Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think, if you call it early and go back to Animal Kingdom, I think that from her point of view, that's going to be just as like, she doesn't have the frame of reference to say that she's missing out.
That's true.
Right.
I'm actually not really worried about her, right? I'm more worried about the families that are coming with me. I want to make sure that they get the most out of their experience. Like,
again, they don't know either.
well, listen. Disney tickets are expensive, and the whole trip is going to be expensive. And I'm always, this is the thing I'm always worried about. And maybe I'm alone in this, but anytime anybody's with us, I like never want anyone to be like, "Why did you invite me on this? This sucks. I spent way too much money on this. I hate it." Right? Like, that's. It's always important to me for other people to have a good time. And I know my daughter's going to have a great time regardless of what we do, right? Like, she's going to have a blast. I'm not even really worried about her. I'm worried about everybody else. Like, so especially, my sister listens to the show, but she would agree with this. Like, she, if a bus takes a half hour, my sister's like, this is ridiculous. Oh, I hate this. Why are we here? I'm never doing this again. Like, and I just don't want to do that. Like, so anyway, but I guess that's my conundrum, but I think that's my plan. But here's the other part of it too, Trevor, right? Like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get any of these reservations, right? Crystal Palace, I mean, it's going to be a tough one. I've got a lot of requests from family members for hard reservations, right? Like, my mom wants to go to Sci-Fi. Like, Sci-Fi is going to be tough. It's always tough. Hoop-de-Doo is going to be tough. I mean, Crystal Palace is probably also going to be tough. So like, these are going to be hard ones for me to get anyway. So who knows? Best laid plans, right? Like, who knows if it's actually going to happen.
Yeah. And that's where I think you have to go back to, prioritizing what do people really want. And then you focus on that first.
Yeah.
If Crystal, like I said, the thing is for you personally, if Crystal Palace doesn't happen this trip, it'll happen next trip. And also I'll put it out there, I've done the same thing where, bringing people and feeling like you have to show them a good time, but you have to remember that, things are going to happen and they're not going to hold you accountable for it. And, they could say, I'm never going back to Disney again. But I've had people say to me, if I wasn't with you, none of this stuff,
I wouldn't have had a good time.
Yeah. The things that we're doing wouldn't have happened because they don't know how to do this stuff anyway. So I wouldn't be so hard on yourself about, feeling like you have to show them a good time, because they're going to have a good time regardless. It may not be like your tier of good time, because I again, as DVC members, we have a higher tier.
Well, I just always have a good time, right? Like, it could rain all week and I'm going to have a good time with that. Like, so it's more just,
but we know what we're after though. We know exactly. we have expectations and we know what we want to do. Somebody coming in blind, they're just going to kind of roll with it. And they'll evaluate their experience at the end as, either, it was a good trip, or, it wasn't so good and I'll never do this again. But, that's not on you. Yeah, right.
That's fair.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, the last thing we have on here is food. I don't think we need to go through all this, but there's a couple things. Yeah.
Yeah. There, I just had a quick look through this and there's nothing really that's jumping out to me as like, whoa.
I mean, the one for me is the orange lemonade with sweet cream foam from Everglades. Looks delicious. I'm always a fan of anything that's creamsicle-y, right? Like anything like creamsicle kind of adjacent, I'm in. I also was looking at these blood orange eclairs. That sounds kind of good to me too. And by the way, those
are right at the top there.
Yeah, this is the Flavors of Florida. It's a Disney Springs kind of event, and there's just a bunch of restaurants doing like Florida-y, like, foods.
Yeah. So everything is in Disney Springs. They're all doing their take on, a lot of citrus stuff, a lot of orange type recipes going on. What was the other one? I thought I saw Polite Pig on here as well. I lost it though.
There was a Cuban sandwich, I think, right?
Yeah.
Or was that? Yeah.
Yeah. There was the Cuban sandwich and
that's at the City Works Eatery. So that's the Smokehouse Cuban is at the City Works Eatery. That sounds pretty good though too.
No, Polite Pig has a Cuban sandwich as well.
Oh, they do. Okay, I didn't scroll that far down. Okay. Cuban sandwich. There you go. Yeah. Classic Florida sandwich made with crusty bread. I mean, I like a Cuban. I'm in for a Cuban usually. Key lime mojito sounds pretty good. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff here. I mean, I would encourage you to check this out. But I mean, there's nothing that really jumped out. Oh, key lime cannoli. Ooh, That sounds good. Ooh. Yeah, key lime cannoli. That's good. But yeah, I mean, nothing. This is going on through July and the beginning of August, so might want to check this out if you're interested. But I think
if
we should
there
wrap
from
this up,
from July 5th to August 14th is when these are being offered. So if you're there in the next month, definitely go check out Disney Springs. But
there you go. There you go. Let's wrap up.
Let's wrap it up. All right. If you guys want to reach out to us, we would love you to send us an email at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We get trip reports from you guys. We get questions, and just, we love you guys reaching out because it's part of what makes us enjoyable is that we have some really great listeners. So keep that stuff coming. Similarly, if you do happen to be on Facebook, you can always find us on there as Welcome Home Podcast, and you can check out our Facebook group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist. We post in there all the time, but there's also lots of listener posts in there. People ask questions, lots of great discussion. So please check that out. And if you want to follow us on YouTube or Instagram, YouTube is Welcome Home Podcast. Instagram is Welcome Home Pics. Always great to be subscribed to those for when we post stuff from the parks. If you're wanting to support the podcast, consider going to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and checking out our merchandise. Everything there helps. It all goes towards the podcast. It goes towards us doing stuff like we actually didn't even talk about this episode, but we have a new shirt in the works. Yeah, so
we got the first sketch, and we were all very excited about it because it came out exactly like we hoped.
Yeah, and Damon actually did post a snippet of it or a piece from that sketch on the Discord server. So for those of you that are on the Discord, check that out. But store.welcomehomepodcast.com is where, all of our merchandise goes towards us doing stuff like this. Obviously, when the shirt comes out, we'll have a link to that on the store. Also, ways to support us, go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod. We got different tiers of on there that have different merchandise attached to them, and it's exclusive to Patreon. And back to talking about the Discord server, if you subscribe to any level on Patreon, it gets you access to the Discord server, so you can see little things like Damon posting the sketch of the shirt on there.
Yeah.
So, and last but not least, we do love seeing your guys' reviews on iTunes. And if you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, please consider leaving us 5 stars because it helps more people find the podcast, and just helps Tom stay happy. So
yeah, and I got my reviews of the week.
Exactly.
My reviews of the week right now. So we got one here from Turbo Redneck, who I feel like is Jeremy. I don't know why. I could be wrong about this, but I feel like it is. And the title of this is Read My Review. The show is pretty good, but I'm just leaving a review to see if the guys will read it on air. Now, I almost didn't read this just because this is just shameless. This is shameless.
That's very meta.
Yeah. But because it's from Turbo Redneck, I had to read it. And like I said, whoever this is needs to reveal themselves in the group. I need to know who it is. And then we also go ahead. Sorry, you say
I'm just laughing.
Yeah. So then I wanted to read this one because this is from Laura Jane from Great Britain, all the way from Great Britain. Thanks for listening.
Wow.
Yeah, so brilliant, funny, and informative. Love this show. Each of the guys have their own personalities and perspectives. A lot of people don't seem to get Damon, but I love his brutal honesty. I think it's great to cover Hilton Head and Vero quite a bit. Really useful coming from the UK to hear about these places that others don't talk about. I listen every week on my commute to work. Only downside is you keep saying you try to make your episodes shorter. Don't. My commute is 1 hour and 45, and that's the perfect length. So keep up the good work. Keep up the amazing work. Damon, never change. And we thank you for making time that you can for the show. Love you all. Well, good news for you. This is almost a 2-hour episode. So good for you. This is good for you, Laura. Laura Jane 86. This comes from Apple Podcasts. So thank you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. That's very nice of you.
And it just tickles me that it's that you're from Great Britain and you're listening to the show too. That just makes me happy. So So anyway, did I read the one last week that says my wife loves the show? Because that one made me laugh too.
I don't remember if we did that one or not.
Well, really quickly, BM Brandy says, my wife loves the show. I married into a Disney family and my wife loves the show. I'm not much of a podcast person, but the hosts do a good job of keeping me entertained while providing Disney news. The audio quality is great and different perspectives are welcome. So there you go. These are my reviews of the week. I have to remember which ones I do in the future, so we're not reading the same ones over and over. But
yeah.
But anyway.
We'll figure this out.
Yeah, new segment, right? So anyway,
exactly.
I just want to know who Turbo Redneck is. That's all I care about. So don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so we can be reminded every time. So you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, any podcast app out there. You can find us. Just search for Welcome Home. Look for the one that says Disney and DVC, the good one. Ignore the other ones that say Welcome Home. You don't want to do those. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company. As such, all opinions we express on the show are our own, so please consult a DVC representative, Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to Monera Financial for sponsoring this episode, and of course, World of DVC for continuing to support the show. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.